Hey there, Minnesota Vikings fans. We're about to break down the roster moves the Vikings made to get down to the 85-man roster limit. But first, we are this close to 1,000 subscribers here on our Vikings YouTube channel. So if you guys want more videos, for free by the way, help us get there. Hit that big red button right now. Today was roster cutdown day, or at least one of the roster cutdown days in the NFL, which means the Minnesota Vikings had to find a way to get down from the previous 90-man roster limit all the way down to 85. That deadline was earlier on Tuesday. This is not the end of the roster cuts that are going to have to come for Minnesota. The new 80-man roster limit, well, that's deadline is August 24th. Then the initial 53-man roster will be finalized on August 31st. So let's break down the moves then that Minnesota made to get to that limit. First up was the release of defensive end Jordan Brailford. All of these players, by the way, at least initially, were cut. Brailford is the most interesting one, given some potential depth concerns at the defensive end spot, and the fact that he has played a little bit in the NFL. Only two tackles last year, but one of them was great. Had the forced fumble, the fumble recovery, a bit of a splash. Even though Brailford was unlikely to make the roster, it does leave Minnesota a little bit thin. Not concerningly thin, not freak-out worthy, but there was still the opportunity for Brailford, I thought, to become a practice squad player. Now, Danielle Hunter, of course, is not going to need to play much in the preseason. He's, of course, your star. Stephen Weatherly, a bit older, but Jalen Holmes, DJ Wonham, Patrick Jones, Janarius Robinson, Kenny Willekes are all very young players, and they will get the vast majority of the reps in the preseason and either make the roster or likely the practice squad if they miss out there. Hercules Mataoff, I'll throw him in there as a defensive end, but he's kind of a DE defensive tackle hybrid for Mike Zimmer's squad. The other big release, or I should say defensive release, was Amari Henderson. He also played, technically speaking, in the past, although he was a preseason guy last year, i.e. not a rookie. Spent some time with the Jags, went to Wake Forest, has some good size, 6'1", a little bit thin at 180. The Vikings have really overhauled their cornerback room in the past, we'll say 2 years, right? Patrick Peterson, Rashad Breeland, and Alexander Mackenzie Alexander, my bad, didn't play for the Vikings last year. Of course, Alexander has played for Minnesota previously, mostly with Minnesota, 1 year with the Bengals. We'll see if Cameron Dantzler can earn a starting role. Henderson was never going to really make the roster, but he was fighting for a practice squad spot. In the end, he comes up short in that area. Time now for some special teams players, because Minnesota at least had the potential for a roster battle at long snapper. That's not the case. Turner Bernard, the San Diego State UDFA, who I don't have long snapper stats, so no stats for him there. He was competing, I guess, technically for the long snapper position. That, of course, is not going to be his anymore. Riley Patterson, meanwhile, the Memphis kicker, was technically waived with an injury designation. Now, because he's been waived and cleared waivers earlier today, he will revert to IR. He, out of Memphis, UDFA, good in extra points, not so much on field goals last year. With the release of Patterson and with the release of Bernard, the Vikings special teams unit, barring another roster move, is pretty much clear as it relates to the big three, right? Greg Joseph, Britton Colquitt, and Andrew DePaula. Those are going to be the three special teamers there, and then we'll figure out the return man battle as training camp and the preseason move even further along. The final cut was wide receiver Blake Proehl, who I like. He's a good player out of ECU, can offer some short area of the field stuff, but he suffered an injury. He was waived/injured as well. He has also reverted to IR. Unless the Vikings reach an injury settlement with Blake Proehl, his season is over, which would result in him being released and signing somewhere else. That's not going to happen. I did think Proehl had a chance to make the back end of the roster. A bit of a long shot with the addition of Dede Westbrook, and still got Chad Beebe and BC Johnson, and guy I like quite a bit in Amir Smith-Marset, throwing KJ Osborne as return specials as well. So it was a bit of a long shot for Proehl, but he might make the team next year. He will have a chance next season, unless he, again, reaches that injury settlement, to fight for a roster spot next year. Putting them through waivers, waived injured, and putting them on IR gives the Vikings a chance to stash those guys for next season. So what cut, if any, surprised you guys the most? These are, of course, the back end of the roster, so in most cases, not the most impactful players. But let me know what you guys are thinking here. Which cut by the Vikings surprised you the most?